Mel Henshaw here again, your friendly local constitutional coop from California. And this is a little different video than I normally do, because what I want to do is get acquainted with you and help you to get people that will help me to continue my work, to make changes in the way the system does business, which benefits you, your children, and your posterity. And at the outset, if I say it myself, my portfolio is absolutely stunning. I've been divinely blessed. I have what I call an a cappella expert witness command of 230 years of the Constitution, history, and laws of the United States. And today we're in the right place at the right time, with the Trump administration coming in and a conservative Supreme Court that's going to be there for the next 10 to 12 years, and will have our backs on a lot of the unopposed structural jurisdictional issues I advocate. So not only are we set to make a lot of changes, but more good news is that we're going to be able to bring claims against people that violate our rights. And we're not talking any BS civil rights here, equal protection, transgender rights, any of that crap. This is the real stuff, and they have a sworn duty to be bound by this Constitution and laws and acted in pursuance thereof. And my portfolio includes, among other things, as you will learn, send me an email, by the way, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. When in my South Carolina felony case 9 years ago. I can't believe I'm saying that. And I got hauled across the country after being arrested out here in a library, which is hard to do. And it took 2 months to get from A to B, by the way. They didn't fly me out there 8 hours on TWA. And I took 4 different federal unmarked military aircraft. 2 months it took to get there, 5 different jails. And when I finally get there in early April, they set up the arraignment and they haul me in there in a red jail suit, which is for crazy people and murderers. And I'm handcuffed, hand and foot. And they read the charge, practicing law without a license. I laughed. And I said, I don't practice it. I get it right the first time. And the judge, who turned out to be one of the good ones, fortunately enough, said, well, we have to check you out and be sure you're competent to represent yourself. But I could have thrown up my hands. Barked at a judge. Beretta B, California, 422 U.S. 806. Problem with that is the Supreme Court ruled in Barron v. Baltimore, 7 Peters, 243, 1828. The Bill of Rights doesn't apply to the states. Shut the whole courtroom up. I won the case in the first 90 seconds of the arraignment. They did not know what to do with me. And I should have been sent home the same day, by the way. But it took another 4 months, since apparently behind the scene, and I can't prove it now, but the feds are investigating me for being a domestic terrorist. And that's, it's unfortunate. And I think the trial judge knew this. And when I did finally get sent home in August, she came into the hearing and she had heavy bandaging on her head. She just had serious treatment for brain cancer and was dead 4 months later, which I didn't know at the time. But she knew how important this case was. So they did that. They got me into a plea bargain under duress and coercion, put me back on the street with the same $45 I had when I was arrested in the library. Could have walked home 3,000 miles for all they cared. So that was quite an experience. I've got it all set in paperwork, and I'm going to be making a huge claim against them. Even 9 years later, you're going to learn that there's no statute of limitations on deceit, fraud, and treason. I'm not talking fucking civil rights here. We don't need it. And they don't have any immunity in our judicial court. One more, send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. I've had success in other areas too. I had an Oakland case My friend was charged with 14 felonies, which to this day I don't know what they were. And his mom and I show up at the courthouse, and the DA is dismissive. Get the hell out of our faces. You don't know anything. Well, a week later, we filed over 700 pages in that case, including about 650 jury instructions. And the next thing you know, he gets released on a plea deal for 14 felonies, which to this day I don't know what they were, and sent home because they recognized I knew what the hell I was talking about, and they couldn't have that come out in front of a jury. And that's a lot of bargaining leverage we had, because if that happens, that's going to set off a string of events across the country in every jurisdiction, quote unquote. And we only have one. You're going to learn that too. Send me an email, uwinnincourt@gmail.com. Just one jurisdiction, the District of Columbia and or federal insular territorial possessions. I then helped my friend win an administrative proceeding, for her wrongful termination, and we got a nice six-figure settlement out of that, beating Stanford University at Stanford, for crying out loud. And it just goes on and on, what I've been able to do. And the big deal here is I'm right on par with the current conservative justices of the Supreme Court, now in their fifth term of an all-out assault on the administrative state. And I know I'm in the right place at the right time, and any investors will enjoy that too. And they will enjoy the amount of money we're going to be collecting here. Although for me, the money is secondary. I want to make changes. That's what I was put here to do. If I get that job done, I will have done what God above put me here to do. I mean, He gave me this divine talent that I have, and divine intervention with great health that I have, and I want to finish the job, and everybody benefits. And people like you that make connections for me are going to benefit very generously too, because the money really is secondary. And that's why we beat them if we ever see a jury, and we're not going to see one. But if we did, because they're going to know we're fighting for their rights, their children's rights, and their posterity. We won't even have to go in the back room to deliver it. So I've had some really, good results there, and I expect them to fully continue. And like I say, I know what the current justices of the Supreme Court, I know what they're going to do, why they're going to do it. The win is still a bit iffy, but with Trump coming in like he did from day one, and by the way, he issued an executive order, I'm sure you're aware of, about birthright citizenship, and it reveals the whole thing, because what it says is an executive order, commander in chief of the armed forces, one man has complete control, in theory at least, of all of the sovereign citizens and all the states admitted into this union. And even upon hearing that claim, it can't possibly be right. But then we're the ones that are excluded from every state constitution. The only body politic they have are what I call sovereign citizen BS, dead citizens who have no rights to de facto national socialist government is bound to respect. And that needs to change, and it needs to change in a hurry. And as I said, I'll be very generous with any of you that help me make some connections. I have a list of people we can start out with, and you may know some as well that'll have a serious interest in doing this. And this looks like it's going to be the year. Still 4 months left in this term of the U.S. Supreme Court. No real dynamite cases appear on the docket at this moment in time, but that could occur, at any time, and especially with the Trump executive orders and how the court grades those and rules on them. And I think they're going to have to rule in his favor. And I can back it up. I know what the case law is there, maybe better than they do. And it goes back in history, back to, as so much of this crap does, the war between the states, the Civil Rights Act of 1866, the Reconstruction Act of 1867, and the non-existent 14th War Amendment. It's an exciting journey I'm on. I want to be able to take you along with me, and you get some friends that can give me some serious venture capital here, and they're going to do very well. And we'll talk more about that money issue later too. Send me an email, by the way, youwinnincourt@gmail.com, and if we can get hooked up together here, all of us are going to do extremely well, and that's what matters. And we make changes and get back to our original federated republican form of government of defined and limited powers while unloading as much ballyhoo democracy, aka three wolves and two sheep voting on what's for dinner, aka today's elective despotism, and get back to where we should have been. We can then make changes and do it consistent with the Constitution, not in violation of all six articles. That's what's exciting. It's what I do. It was what I was put here to do. On March 5th, by the way, 1857, I'll talk more to you about this story later, how I know that. Don't ask. I mean, mid-19th century, and yet here I am. But it's just great for all of us. So send me an email, youwinningcourt@gmail.com. Subscribe, like your friends. Tell them to get the word out. The faster we take action across the board here, and even Asians and Africans will have rights. No, they're not a member of the sovereign body politic, but then again, there isn't anything remotely resembling that today, even if. So we have to get back there, and they'll have enforceable rights, and that's going to help. To prevent any future occurrences of incidents like with Jalen Walker, who gets shot 48 times in the back by 8 law enforcement thugs. In a traffic case where the court would have not had any jurisdiction, nobody gets indicted for even involuntary manslaughter when they should all be on death row. Those are the kind of changes we need to get. So that said, send me an email, youwinningcourt@gmail.com. Remember to subscribe, like the videos, tell your friends, get the word out. We're in the right place at the right time. Thank you.